Hi, I'm going to share with you guys about my best story ever. And my best story ever took place the end of 2018. My youngest daughter, Mia, was born November 26th, and everything went well, and we were discharged home from the hospital. And then a couple of days later, I ended up getting sick with postpartum preeclampsia. So I had to be readmitted to the hospital, and it was one of the most terrifying times of my life. I'm a nurse, so I know a lot about, just the medical stuff and different diseases and what's actually going on in your body when you're sick. And so I was absolutely terrified because I've seen the worst case scenarios and people who end up not doing well, and I know what can happen. And so I was absolutely terrified. They were having a really hard time controlling my blood pressure, and I also had a lot of extra fluid in my body, so I was having a lot of fluid shifting and some neurological issues going on because of that. And so they were worried that I was going to have a stroke. They couldn't get things under control for a while. And so my dad was actually at home with my mom, who had just had a knee replacement the same day that Mia was born. So he was home with her, and then my boyfriend, of course, was home with our oldest daughter and our newborn, taking care of them. So I was by myself most of the time, and I just was totally convinced that I wasn't going to make it because I wasn't doing well, and I just had this awful feeling. And I called my dad and begged him to just come in and sit with me because I didn't want to be alone. And he came into the hospital, and um, we get along and everything, but we're not super close. But I just had this overwhelming urge to pray with my dad, and we sat there together, and I prayed out loud, harder than I've ever prayed for anything ever. And I just begged God to please heal me and not let this be the end of my time here on earth, because I had two beautiful daughters that I had to get home to and that I wanted to be here to raise, and I needed to take care of them. And just begged him and told him that I couldn't go anywhere because I needed to be there for them. And all of a sudden, I just got this rush of warmth that kind of like started in my legs and came up through my body. And I don't know how to describe it other than it was like a switch was flipped and my body just felt totally different. Like everything just kind of relaxed, and I just felt like I just had a totally different feeling. And from that moment, I knew that I was going to be okay. I just had this overwhelming peace and comfort wash over me, and I just knew, I was totally sure I wasn't worried anymore. I knew that I was going to be okay, and then it wasn't my time to go anywhere. I told my dad he could go home, and I was fine. And since that happened, I've always felt like that was God, and that he heard my prayers and that he healed me. And it was just amazing. It was an amazing experience, and unlike anything I had ever experienced before. And that is why that's my best story ever.